Shalom, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kakadash. Double honor to the apostle of GMS, shalom to Akim in the faith. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. The point of this lesson, or the title of this lesson, is going to be etiquette or manners, something along those lines. I'll figure out a good title later on. And usually I have the camera on me or facing towards something, but as long as the word gets pushed out, that's really all that matters, man. But we're gonna open up with the book of 1 Corinthians. And before I go through the spirit reading these precepts, as men, as Israelites, and especially as men of the Lord, that we claim and that we want and that we strive to be, we have to hold ourselves to higher standards, man. We can't be making a fool of ourselves, and those who make a fool of themselves show their upbringing. And what I mean by that is how you act and how you carry yourself and the things that you do shows how you were raised. It shows your morals and your standards, man. What you were built upon, because we all have a foundation of some sort. There's a saying that everyone's wired differently. Those children who were never chastised or ever beaten, had a hand put on their behind. They usually out here, in the grave. Number one, people in jail, and obviously it's the curses, but just on another aspect, if you could receive it, like those who were never who pretty much were never corrected, they go out there and they make a fool of those who brought them up, man, of their parents, pretty much, because you're a representation of something, and we're a representation of the Lord, so through these precepts we get understanding, right? So therefore, we have to have order, and we have to carry ourselves to these standards, man. The same way when your parents was raising you up, they told you not to steal, not to do certain things, to not make them a fool of themselves. So the Heavenly Father told us, has given us certain things, these so-called Native Americans, Hispanics, and blacks, to not make a fool of him, man. Because a lot of jakes, even in this truth, those who claim and want to be part of the elect, they do put the Lord to open shames at times, or not that those are those who fall out of the truth, Salakia, but there's certain jakes who don't move with as much wisdom as they should, or forsake common sense just because they have the truth. Like that one jake who tried to talk to the Eve on Instagram and talking, just he wasn't going off, but this is not your kingdom, man. Eve's not just gonna fall into your hands just because you're seemingly a man of the Lord. But enough of my babbling. Let's get straight into the precepts. Book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 14, verse 40. Let all things be done decently and in order, man. And that's said for a reason, man. Because when you're out here discombobulated, or if you just want to do whatever you want to do, then there's no edification in it, really, when you think about it, right? Long story short, there's just really, you can't do nothing with a discombobulated mind or discombobulated actions or discombobulated ways. And I want to get into the book of Ecclesiasticus. Not a breakdown, but more of an extrapolation, extrapolating, some great precepts in here that really stuck with me and made a lot of sense, Starting at chapter 1, Salakia, verse 1 of Ecclesiasticus, or the book known as Sirach, chapter 31, verse 1. Watching for riches consumeth the flesh, and the care thereof driveth away sleep. So you trying to get rich, or you just constantly, because I've been in that loop before, Jake just fucked up, and you trying to think of a million ways to make $1 million, and you just can't make it. You can't figure it out, man. You damn near drive yourself crazy, man. You find yourself not even doing nothing at this point, and now all you're doing is just thinking, man. You damn near losing time, not even doing your 9 to 5 or doing whatever could make you shuckle, so just thinking about it. And not that there's nothing wrong to work smarter and not harder, but this is not our rest, so you trying to become successful here, it will pollute your mindset, like it says in the book of Micah, I believe. This place had to pollute you with a sword of destruction. So yeah, you trying to look at the stock market all day, or you trying to figure out a master plan on your cursed business. We curse, our basket stores is cursed. You trying to figure out a master plan, you gonna drive yourself crazy, man. It says, watching for riches consumeth away the flesh, man. So you gonna lose your mind. and the care thereof driveth away sleep. You're gonna lose some sleep. You're gonna lose sleep, point blank, period. The gold, verse 6, gold had been the ruin of many. Their destruction was present. It is a stumbling block unto them that sacrifice unto it. Every fool shall be taken therewith. So a lot of people, they chase after money, man. Money over everything, right? And it says a lot of fools have sacrificed unto it, man. And it is a stumbling block to those who sacrifice unto it. So, it's really their own delusion, Here they think they save themselves, but what the scripture says, it says, roughly paraphrasing, pretty much, what shall you gain if you lose your soul, for selling it? You don't really get it. You really lose it, Here you are, you think you gained the world, but you just lost your damn self. Okay, Khan. Okay, Khan. Verse 15. Verse 14, let's start there. Let's start at verse 12, Salakia. If thou sit at a bountiful table, be not greedy upon it, and say not, there is much meat on it. So when you go to a table, or when you get somewhere where there's plenteous, don't have that luscious eyesight, man. And you might have it because you're in the flesh, right? You might, it's eye-popping, it's eye candy. But mentally, you got to have a solid ground and not be carried away by it, man. And literally too, man. If you're around brothers, or if you're around, a family table, whatever the case may be, there's plenty of food. Don't be salivating and getting out of your wits, which is keen understanding. Don't be losing your mind like you never seen something before, man. Don't be acting like your parents never fed you or you never ate food before, man. Remember that a wicked eye is an evil thing, and what is created more wicked than the eye? That's what the precept says. Therefore, it weepeth upon every occasion, because the scriptures tell us to not covet, to not lust after different things. So so that's really a wicked eye, man. If you're getting around something or food, you're around brothers, and you're supposed to have etiquette, and your etiquette is to just be like acting like you never seen shit before. Every time there's meat on the table or anything of any kind, you just going crazy, man. You can't be controlled by these things, man. Everything got to be done in decency and in order, and also in moderation. So an evil eye weepeth on every occasion, man. So every time, something eye candy's popped out, your weakness is just showed. You just let your guard down. And food does make the belly and the mind, glad, That's not going off, but you got to have etiquette, man. We're men of the Lord. We're not babies or hopefully not 2/3 men, man. You can't be going stupid. But we're going to get into the meat of this. I know there's a lot of rambling, but bear with me. Stretch not thine hand whatsoever it looketh, and trust not with him into the dish. So just because your eye see it, don't be just going to grab, man. Slow your ass down, man. You ain't got to be first to get everything. You don't know what's in what. Shit, I'm trying to think. Is that a precept or is that something I learned in the world? I did learn something in the world. It says to despise the free lunch. People will get your ass like that, man. Of course, if you're around brothers, you ain't got to worry about something of that sort. But your ass showing your weakness every time, you'll get got. Stretch not thine hand whatsoever it looketh, man. So just because you see and you look in your eye catching it, don't just be jumping straight to it, man. Jumping straight to the conclusion. Verse 15, judge of thy neighbor by thyself and be discreet in every point. Because really, keeping it real, everyone judges, man. The book says to judge them, and to judge not, the elder, and not to rebuke the elder. And certain things, you got to extrapolate. You got to extrapolate and have ears to hear, eyes to see, different points when it's talking about different things, whether it's literal sense or dark sense. But, we're all judging, man, and everyone's judging, man. So you got to be in decency and order, man. You can't be running out of your wits over certain things. Eat as it is becometh a man those things which are set before thee, and devour not, lest thou be hated. So eat what was given to you. You know, be satisfied with what you have. Devour not, lest thou be hated. Don't be ravishing something like you never had it. And, you know, to not be hated. You know, because then it's like, damn, this person ain't never ate before. I can't have this person, you know, coming over. Or I can't, there's certain things I just can't do. Leave off first for manners' sake. This is back to the title of this lesson, etiquette. Leave off first for manners' sake, and be not unsatiable, lest thou offend. So don't be acting like you're not satisfied, you know, when you're giving what you're giving, when you have what you have, for manners' sake, man. Because then you're going to offend people. Like, damn, you know, you ain't put in nothing, or even if you did put in something, you just like, you just a taker, man. It's better to give. Verse 18, when thou sittest among many, reach not thine hand first of all. Hand out first of all. That's key, man. You don't want to be the first one. You know, not that it's wrong, you know, if it falls in a situation where you're the first to get your plate, you know, no big deal. You know, you wait till everybody else get their plate and then you eat as well. But it's not no competition, man. This goes back into showing your foundation and your upbringings, and not embarrassing and having etiquette, man. You know, and not embarrassing those who raised you. And really who raised us is our spiritual fathers in this word and the Lord, you know, the apostles and elders on down of GMS. And the Lord and his only begotten Son, of course, at the highest. So yeah, when thou sit against many, so when you're amongst a congregation or your brothers, whether it be your family, chill out, man. Because you putting yourself not only on a pedestal, but you also putting yourself off of a pedestal. You're showing childish ways, man. Those are ways of a child. Verse 19, a very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured. So if you're well nurtured, whether that be physically, you know, you're healthy, or mentally, you know, that you have understanding and manners, a little is enough, you know. Not, of course, you're going to have days where you're starving, or of course you're going to want to eat a lot more, you know, than a little. But you have to understand, you got to know how to be satisfied, man. Because if you can't be in a gluttonous mindset like these Babylonians have to eat 3 meals a day, 2 snacks between each meal, supper, a mid-sleep snack. No, man. We're men of the Lord, man. We about to come into famine, man. You know, we're supposed to be practicing fasting here and there. So no, we cannot be gluttonous, man. Those are ways of heathens, literally, man. And of course we have our feast days and whatnot, man. You know, so, you know, take this, not with a grain of salt, but take this, you know, for what it's worth, you know. Please understand it. If the shoe fits, wear it. 19, verse 19, very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured, and he fetcheth not his wind short upon his bed. Sound sleep cometh from moderate eating. He riseth early, and his wits are with him. Wits meaning keen understanding. His mind is with him. Because when you eat, literally, you can search this up. A tiger that eats a full meal, eats till his stomach is filled up, he can sleep for 24 hours. He can be knocked out dead, and then the prey will come upon him, and he's overtaken. When it says sound sleep coming from moderate eating, man. So if you're not overeating, you're gonna literally sleep better, man. You're gonna be in your right state of mind, man, through the Spirit. But the pain of watching and choler and pangs of the belly are with an unsatiable man. So if you unsatisfiable, you always gotta eat. You think you're doing yourself a favor by this. I'm eating, I'm getting healthy, I'm getting more weight, I'm doing myself a favor, you know, my ribs not gonna show. By the time you go to bed, yo, you can't even fucking sleep. That's why they say you should eat, you know, your heavy meals while the sun is up before you go to bed. You know, if the sun's already down, you don't want to eat too heavy, you know, because it literally alters your sleep. And I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, man, with any lesson and anything that I preach and do, you know. Shit, I need to tighten up on that as well, you know, not eating too much before it's late. Verse 21, if thou hast been forced to eat, arise and go forth and vomit, thou shalt have rest. So, if somebody forces you to eat, they saying, don't offend me, here, take what I've given unto you. Now you got to eat that shit, that you only want to eat. It says literally go vomit, man. So that goes to show you that overeating, is just not etiquette, man. That shit it's almost embarrassing. I'm trying to be as respectful on the comment, on this video, but it's ridiculous. I'll jump down to verse 23. Salakia, man, this is really, I really love this chapter. I'll go to verse 22. My son, hear me and despise me not, and at last thou shalt find as I told thee, and all thy works be quick, so thou no sickness come unto thee. So if you follow these precepts, these statutes, and these commandments, and these etiquettes, these ways to live and how to go about things, no sickness shall come upon thee. Although we're in the flesh, different elements going to come upon us, but, having this wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and doing as so, we're going to avoid as much as possible. Verse 23, whose soul is liberal of his meat, men shall speak well of him, and report of his good housekeeping will be believed. So if you have good etiquette and mannerisms, when it comes to eating, men are going to speak well of you, even though we're not here for the praise of men. But you're going to be speaking well of rather than being embarrassed that I can't have this brother coming over or things of that sort. And his good housekeeping will be believed. So your mannerism, that goes back to your etiquette. But against him that is a niggard of his meat, the whole city shall murmur, and testimonies of his niggardness shall not be doubted of. So there ain't gonna be no doubt if somebody say, man, this man's a gluttonous, he just never satisfied, he has to have everything, he's like a damn animal. Shew not thy valiantness in wine, for wine hath destroyed many. And as we know, wine and women, destroy a lot of men, roughly paraphrasing. Jumping down to verse 27, wine is as good as a life to a man if he be drunk and moderately. What is life to a man that is without wine? So in other words, wine maketh the heart glad, roughly paraphrasing. And then finishing his words, it says, for it was made to make men glad. Wine measurably drunk in season bringeth gladness of the heart, cheeringfulness of the mind, but wine drinking with excess making bitterness of the mind with brawling and quarreliness. So you drinking too much drink, you're gonna damn lose your mind. But drink, the Lord was a wine bibber, of course. But the Lord wasn't a niggard when he came to drinking his drink, He knew when and how and where to do it, And if you feel like you got to slow down on some things, you go ahead and do so, man. A brother was just talking about that in the conversation that they just sent in the chat. I didn't even intend or think this lesson would go this long, but that is, I want to say serious, but it is an important trait, Going back to your upbringings, man, and and how to walk and how to look and how to act and how to talk, that's just one aspect, man. That's how this Bible and this thing is legit, man. Because just about eating, man, it tells you how to go about your way, man. Because that shit's embarrassing, man. I know a lot of people, and especially the Levites. Levites, even though they're wicked as hell, they into all that voodooism and shit. But Levi has a lot of principle, man. They stand on a lot of principle. They have a lot of dignity. They have a lot of unwritten rules. But when you really realize it all comes from the Bible, that's why they're so the way they are. The ones who are have a decent spirit, they don't fuck around with certain shit, man. Levi will have your ass. They will never cook for your ass. If your ass, don't know how to be and treat things, man. Levi loves to give things away, as far as food. Levi will cook a whole thing for you, like a whole pot of thing. But if your ass is a greedy, gluttonous, unappreciable, unsatisfied belly, Levi damn near poison your ass through that food, man. But man, Spirit had me wanting to bring this out, man. Lord willing, this was edifying, straight to the point, double honor to the Apostle GMS, giving all honor and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Remember, brothers and sisters, mannerisms and etiquette, you know, it's a beautiful thing to have, you know. It doesn't, of course, you know, having this precept, it makes us better than the rest of the world, but, you know, walking these statutes, laws, and commandments, and having this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, you know, we have a different standard, so, you know, it is what it is, man. We're on another level with it, you know. Shalom.